The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report PrimeTime here on My 24 Milwaukee. Damian Nelson along with David Hero, and another episode of Ring of Honor is in the history book. And tonight, we learn that Dan Severn is going to be a part of Ring of Honor training Eddie Edwards.
The UFC beast, the guy who beat up how many guys? You know who trained Dan Severn was Al Snow.
Really?
Absolutely. And they were in the movie Rudy together as well.
Absolutely. Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
Well, there you go.
Tremendous addition to Ring of Honor, but this is causing some dissension as we lead into final battle on December 23rd between Davey Richards, the champion, and Eddie Edwards, his opponent, because they are close and former tag team partners.
But it's all about the gold. It's all about winning. It's all about the big paychecks. Why wouldn't he want Dan Severn to help him beat Davey Richards?
Kyle O'Reilly looking good tonight, part of Team Richards in a matchup with Davey Richards. And again, some strong building of some young talents in Ring of Honor Wrestling.
Those two guys had a very innovative and creative match, stuff I had never seen before. The way they locked legs and were spinning around and flipping and chopping and slapping.
Mike Bennett thinks he's the TV champion.
As well he should. You have to believe it if you're going to do it.
And Jay Lethal is going to be giving that shot to El Generico before he gives it to Mike Bennett. But tonight, he was granting people shots at his TV championship, which was fun to watch. But it's going to take a little bit more action with Jay Lethal to get to the point where he could actually do that. Also tonight, David Hero, Jim Cornette talking about the fact that next week he's going to have a statement in response to Kevin Steen's demand for a reinstatement with Ring of Honor Wrestling. And it made me wonder, Jim Cornette is a great speaker and a great talent and a person who can really make you believe. And it made me, again, as we talked about last week, look at how strong this whole build is, not only for this, but the matchup between Edwards and Richards at Final Battle on December 23rd. Some good continuation from week to week from Ring of Honor Wrestling going on there. But we'll see what actually happens going into the next few weeks leading into Final Battle on December 23rd. David Hero, there is so much more going on in the professional wrestling world, including this Sunday night, the WWE Survivor Series live on pay-per-view. We're going to talk about that. Also, last Sunday's TNA Turning Point on pay-per-view. The history book, as we look back at what I think is one of the best Survivor Series of all time, the 1996 edition, which conveniently also came to us from Madison Square Garden, and this one presents his Star of the Week. All that coming up next, right here on the Pro Wrestling Report, prime time on My 24 Milwaukee.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
This past Sunday night, it was TNA Turning Point on pay-per-view, David, and it was a pay-per-view that saw two brand new champions crowned in the Knockouts champion and the television champion. And let's talk about that pay-per-view and specifically the television championship matchup between Robbie E. and Showtime EY Eric Young. Now, I was live in Orlando, Florida at Turning Point.
You had great seats, by the way.
For that pay-per-view, yes, I did, and what was very surprising, I wouldn't even say surprising, but what was of note to me was that Eric Young was one of the most popular people in that Impact Zone with that audience that night. And then we would see in this matchup, which was a good match, by the way, Robbie E. walk out with the TNA Television Championship, arguably one of the reasons Eric Young is so popular.
Eric Young he's a character wrestler. He's the guy that isn't like everybody else. He's not a cookie cutter. He's got the crazy beard, the crazy ring gear, drops his pants at the drop of a dime, I guess you could say.
Sometimes twice in a match.
And being that close to the OBT, I can see why. But let me just say this. Eric Young has a charisma, has in-ring ability that just can't be taught. It's instinct. He knows how to work a crowd. And that's why the crowd and the fans can connect with him.
And Robbie E., the new TNA Impact TV champion,
The
and
TNA
now
Impact Wrestling Television Champion.
hopefully we'll see something continue between him and Eric Young. But is this a better story? And we'll talk about this when we get to the Knockouts match as well. Is this a better story to have Eric Young seeking his championship again?
Well, that's if they plan on doing that. I mean, let's hope that they put those two guys in a program because they're both very talented. Robbie E has come a long way since he got stuck with Cookie to start off the whole Jersey Shore deal. And now that he has Big Rob Terry as the bouncer and the Velvet Rope, he's developed a character. And you know what? Yes, the crowd may boo him and hate him because it's all about Jersey Shore. But at the end of the day, the guy's talented.
And you know what was, and this is one of the criticisms I've had of TNA in the past, is the details. When Robbie E came back later on and did that interview with Jeremy Borash in the back, they had to go through the Velvet Rope, which again just continues to nail it home. And I thought Robbie E had some very interesting things to say in that promo. And again, a good match between him and Eric Young at that pay-per-view, but surprising how popular. I think I sent out a tweet that said that Eric Young was amazingly over, and he was on that night.
I just got the tweet that said you wanted more Jameson.
Someone else who was amazingly over and popular with the crowd that night was the TNA Knockouts champion, Velvet Sky. Velvet Sky, again, surprisingly so, comes out to defend that Knockouts championship. There are, of course, shenanigans involved with Karen Jarrett, Madison Rayne, and that results in Gail Kim becoming the new TNA Knockouts champion. And David Hero last week on Be the Booker at PWRshow.com, you questioned whether or not they would do what they've done in the past, they being TNA, the past being putting the championship on their latest WWE acquisition. And they didn't do it with Mickie James, but they definitely did it this time with Gail Kim.
Boy, I love Gail Kim. I mean, she's a fantastic worker. She's a great friend. But wow, they've given her all the gold at once. You know, it's like, where's the build-up? I mean, who knows, maybe that, I'm sure there's a bigger plan than what I can think of in TNA, I hope. But the fact of the matter is, now you have one lady that controls the Knockouts division when maybe she shouldn't be the tag champ. Maybe she'll give the tag titles to somebody else in the Karen Alliance. But you know what, Gail Kim, I mean, the stuff she does in the ring looks good. The way she works, it's like she's truly in a fight, and I think she brings an intensity to the Knockouts division that they haven't had since she left.
And let's not forget, Gail Kim, I believe, was the first Knockouts champion in TNA Impact Wrestling and had a great series of matchups building the X Division with Awesome Kong. This one is really interesting, David Hero, and it was the matchup between Jeff Hardy and Jeff Jarrett. A match that ended up with Jeff Hardy getting 3 pinfall victories on Jeff Jarrett. And the reviews from this one have been pretty negative across the board. But from my standpoint, being there live, it was one of the most entertaining things I've seen from TNA.
Well, I'm glad you were entertained by it because for me it didn't make any sense. I mean, they could have built up this story with more heat and more steam. Let Jeff Jarrett beat Jeff Hardy, okay? Let him give him his receipt for screwing up that pay-per-view and then go forward from there. But instead, what do? Jeff Hardy, straight to the top. He beat the founder 3 straight times, made him look super silly. And you know what? Where do they go from here now?
I think where they go from here is putting Jeff Hardy back on the top and in the championship. There's way too many Jeffs to talk about this match right now.
And
putting Jeff Hardy back in the championship picture for TNA. Jeff Hardy, again, amazingly popular with the crowd in Orlando, Florida, especially the children, a point you've made many a time. So it makes some sense for TNA to do what they're doing with Jeff Hardy. And a fan said something to me that struck me at that event, which is, first the question was, do you think Jeff Hardy is clean and going to be able to perform on a regular basis? Absolutely, there's no doubt about that at this point. The question is, will he stay that way? And then the fan said, well, it's good TNA is giving him a chance instead of just kicking him to the curb like WWE did. Now, WWE didn't kick him to the curb, but that is the perception a lot of fans have.
Jeff Hardy was given a blank check from Vince McMahon. He said no.
Right.
So nobody kicked anybody to the curb in that scenario.
Jeff kicked himself to the curb. But this was, I think, it made a good amount of sense to me, David Hero. Puts Hardy back on top and shows that he is ready to be in that position in the company again.
I disagree with you. I think that they should have had Jeff Jarrett go over and let some other things build and simmer and make it so when let Jeff Jarrett bury him week after week after week, and then let Jeff have the big match and all the big pyro and ooh la la and everything else.
Speaking of the big and everything else, the TNA Championship was on the line, and AJ Styles tried to take the title away from the champion Bobby Roode. This match, not as good as I expected it to be, David Hero, but I do like the direction that Bobby Roode is going in, saying he will do anything necessary to keep his hands on that TNA Championship.
And that's exactly what he did, and Mike today did a great job of talking about that throughout the match, saying what a scoundrel Bobby Roode is.
Dirty Rotten?
Dirty Rotten.
TNA Turning Point, overall, a pay-per-view that was not reviewed very favorably by you out in the viewing audience, but from a live event perspective, I thought it was a pretty good show, and we'll see what next month brings, that final resolution from TNA. David Hero, there were three championships changing hands in TNA over the course of the last 7 days. We're going to talk about another title that changed hands this past Thursday night on Impact, and also still to come here on the Pro Wrestling Report, we've got the Star of the Week, the History Book, and all the latest from World Wrestling Entertainment. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on My 24 Milwaukee.
Saturday night, December 3rd, it's Blizzard Brawl 7. The annual extravaganza returns to the Waukesha County Expo Center, featuring stars such as Al Snow, Carlito, Chris Masters, Chavo Guerrero, Sonny, Axe and Smash, Demolition, D.H. Smith, and more. Tickets start at only $10 each, and you can buy them now at BlizzardBrawl.com. Blizzard Brawl 7, Saturday, December 3rd, Waukesha County Expo Center.
I'm Maria Canellis, and you're watching the Pro Wrestling Report on My 24.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report here on My 24 Milwaukee. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And David Hero, tomorrow night is the Survivor Series from WWE. And big names on that card, especially being The Rock.
The Rock.
And many of you are wondering whether or not you're going to order the pay-per-view. Well, the Pro Wrestling Report would like to make that decision for you. Don't.
Really?
Don't.
No?
Because you can watch it for free of charge at absolutely no cost to you at the Horny Goat Hideaway. You can join our guest, Maria Kanellis, who will be hosting the event, former WWE Diva and Playboy centerfold, Maria Kanellis at the Horny Goat Hideaway Sunday, starting at 5 p.m. Central Time. You can come on down, have some great food and drink specials, and then view the WWE Survivor Series absolutely free. David Hero, there's no other place in Milwaukee to watch the Survivor Series for free than on the largest television in the Midwest.
It's a 10-foot by 16-foot television screen. It's ridiculous.
An exclusive Pro Wrestling Report event. We will be there. Maria Kanellis will be hosting. It's tomorrow night at the Horny Goat Hideaway in Milwaukee. You can go to our Facebook page for all the information on that great event. Maria Kanellis, the Survivor Series, The Rock, John Cena. Doesn't get any better than that.
This week's PWR Star of the Week is the man from TNA who has the most bling and now has some new gold to go along with it. The TNA Impact Wrestling Television Champion, Robbie E., the man that beat Showtime Eric Young at the Turning Point pay-per-view and kept rolling this past week with a big victory over Devon Dudley. Your PWR Star of the Week, Robbie E. Oh!
Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius and Tiberius, the alleged Hall of Famer from a backyard.
No! Did you know that this past weekend, POW Wrestling in Chicago inducted the Macho Man into my Hall of Fame?
After you were inducted?
After me. I was inducted before the Macho Man.
I saw the proof of the Macho Man's induction. I didn't see the proof of yours. And speaking of big local wrestling, independent wrestling events, Blizzard Brawl 7, December 3rd from the Waukesha County Expo Center. All the information on that huge event, which now has another big name added to it, available right now on our Facebook page. But let's go ahead and tell Milwaukee who they get to meet at Blizzard Brawl 7.
Well, when you get the meet and greet tickets for Blizzard Brawl 7, you now get to meet and greet the living legend, the Hall of Famer, and AWA legend, Mean Gene Okerlund.
Oh my!
Yes, Mean Gene. And
is there a hotline number to call or anything to talk to Mean Gene? Because this might be too hot for TV.
Well, but those are like, they charge per minute. So we're not going to give that away here, but definitely go to blizzardbrawl.com for more information on how to meet and greet with Mean Gene Okerlund. Chavo Guerrero, Carlito, Al Snow, Demolition.
My one-on-one match with Chris Masters, where I will dominate Chris Masters in a way that he has never been dominated before. All that happens December 3rd at the Waukesha County Expo Center. But David Harrell, let's talk about World Wrestling Entertainment and the big 3-hour Raw that got rocked this past Monday night. Some things of note happening on that show, and one we've been talking about for weeks, that being what finally happened, the Michael Cole Challenge. Between him and
We're really
going
to start off the Raw with the Michael Cole Challenge.
Between him and good old JR, Jim Ross.
With all the other shenanigans that happened, we're going to talk about Michael Cole.
We're going to build.
And an arm wrestling contest and a dance off.
Shimmy,
JR can go. He can dance.
Really?
It's like he took the Beavis and Butthead class in dancing.
Was he dancing with what brung him? Or who brung him, though, as he says all the time.
Put it this way, he put some sauce on it.
Jim Ross not back in the booth as a result of this. Very disappointing.
But why? Why are you disappointed?
Why do you hate JR?
I don't hate JR, but we all knew it wasn't going to happen.
I firmly believed it was going to happen.
Well,
I really did.
JR is going to be just fine. He's still getting a paycheck. It's not like he was fired. And then when he comes back, the crowd will love him that much more.
Speaking of coming back, it was a huge return this past Monday night. Mick Foley back in WWE, and David Hero, another segment, as we talked about TNA Turning Point earlier, getting mixed reviews. This segment between Mick Foley and John Cena definitely getting some mixed reviews as well.
I think it all came together. They did the John Cena This Is Your Life as a way to bury John Cena. As to slowly humiliate him, to slowly get more boos for him, because The Rock is the bigger star, so let's establish that. I honestly believe that a John Cena heel turn is in the works, especially after what happened Monday night.
A John Cena heel turn?
Absolutely. The writing is on the wall.
That is worthy of 5 more minutes.
We're not going to give it away here?
No, I want to hear your explanation of what you just said in our extended version of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, available at our website, pwrshow.com, and on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MaxSports. Very interesting, very, very interesting. What was different between that and the This Is Your Life Rock segment of some years ago?
They can't recapture that lightning in the bottle. Yeah. I mean, when they did it, even when they did it with The Rock and Sock, how many years ago, it wasn't great, but it was interesting. Mm-hmm. It just seemed forced.
It was a very good piece of the overall mix at that time.
Exactly.
This is a headlining piece. Yeah. I'm not sure it was back then.
I mean, but it was a great way to bring Mick Foley back. It was a great, and that's how Mick Foley is. He likes to help get the baby faces over. And even though he tried, the crowd was against it and that's his hometown of Boston, Massachusetts for John Cena. Oh, of course it matters.
The Rock, of course, the headliner, the man who was back live in Boston on Raw, and he showed again why he is The Rock as the show went off the air.
You know what? He is the man. I mean, he looked like, once again, The Rock unintentionally buried the entire locker room.
Just by showing up?
By showing up, by cutting the promo, by looking in the best shape of his life, and considering he's one of the older guys one of the oldest guys now on that roster, it's ridiculous how good he looked.
Mason Ryan gets a win by DQ over the United States champion Dolph Ziggler. I'm not liking where that's going, David.
I don't understand, who is Dolph Ziggler feuding with? Is it with Mason Ryan or is it with Zack Ryder? It goes back and forth between those two guys.
Well, we do know, speaking of back and forth, that for the second time in about a 2-month period, Dolph Ziggler will be pulling double duty this Sunday at the Survivor Series, defending the United States Championship and part of the Survivor Series traditional matchup, Team Barrett versus Team Orton.
Just shows how talented Dolph Ziggler really is.
Oh, he is endorsed,
Did you know that he was in season 4 of Tough Enough?
I did know that, of course.
I must have missed that part of it.
And he was also part of the Spirit Squad with Mike Mondo, who was a big part of Ring of Honor.
Yes, absolutely.
Just earlier tonight. Survivor Series is tomorrow night on pay-per-view. You can hear much more about what we think may happen at the Survivor Series in the Be the Booker special web version of the Pro Wrestling Report. That's available right now on pwrshow.com. That comes to you each Friday before pay-per-views, and we will be broadcasting live Sunday night after the pay-per-view with our hostess with the mostest, Maria Kanellis from the Horny Goat Hideaway. Free showing of the WWE Survivor Series. You can come on down and even be a part of the post show from the Pro Wrestling Report, which streams online all over the world. All that Sunday, the Survivor Series from WWE, and you can join the Pro Wrestling Report and Maria Kanellis at the Horny Goat Hideaway. David Hero, it's time to go back into the annals of time, back to the future, if you will. And we have been talking about the Survivor Series all month. So let's go to 1996, the site, Madison Square Garden, the event, the Survivor Series. I was actually there live at Madison Square Garden for that Survivor Series, which saw the debut of not The Rock, but Rocky Maivia with all kinds of gimmick and stuff, which would lead to Die, Rocky, Die shortly thereafter.
The Rock became one of the biggest stars because of the way he was ceremonially brought out in the no pet strips and everything else.
And
just think about how he used to look back then, as opposed to now.
Yeah, that hair especially.
Oh my gosh, that hair.
Jake the Snake Roberts, part of that pay-per-view, 1996. He spent a lot of time on pay-per-views, including right here in Milwaukee at the King of the Ring, where Austin 316 was born. And I think a lot of people forget how much Jake the Snake Roberts' whole return religion thing had to do with that.
Jake the Snake was a big part of Austin 316, and he was also a big part of The Rock.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Jake the Snake, part of that pay-per-view, which led to a great commentary dispute between Jim Ross, Vince McMahon, and Sunny, who at the time was the most downloaded diva in the history of the internet. Downloaded female in the history of the internet.
She's still downloaded a lot right now, too.
And her exchange with JR was just classic on that pay-per-view. And it was when JR was having that feud, if you will, with Vince McMahon over the whole indictment and the firings and the real Diesel, the fake Diesel, Razor Ramon, all that stuff as well. Undertaker versus Mankind had another matchup on that pay-per-view, and that series of matchups that they had in 1996 still rivals some of the best feuds we've ever seen in wrestling.
Mick Foley and The Undertaker, historically great matches, great feud. And who would have thought how many years later, Hell in a Cell?
Yeah, right.
Amazing.
It would be 2 years after this that Hell in a Cell match would happen in 1998, but it would be in 1997 at WrestleMania 13 where we would see Bret Hart take on Stone Cold Steve Austin in a match that really did truly define both of those men's careers, even though Bret's was already pretty much defined, but that match launched Stone Cold Steve Austin to the
turned
next
one guy
level.
babyface and the other one heel, and as they say, the rest is history.
And they wrestled at the Survivor Series in an equally great match, just not as great as the WrestleMania contest, but this is the match that really did set that up. And of course, the main event saw Sid Vicious become the new WWE champion after he attacked Shawn Michaels, and I believe even Jose Lothario, who faked the heart attack.
Oh my
or
gosh,
had the heart attack
yes,
with the camera.
With the camera. I mean, that's...
And let's not forget, we talked about Madison Square Garden.
Oh, they
booed Shawn
turned
Michaels
on
out of
Shawn
that building.
Michaels, yes. Who would have thought reality TV would have taken that much of a swing?
A great event, Survivor Series 1996. We've talked about 97, and we didn't talk about 98, Deadly Game, but that was a great Survivor Series as well. Mick Foley heavily involved in that one, and really a great span of years in WWE with the Survivor Series and the screw jobs and the guarantees from Vince McMahon.
If you want
Maybe we'll see that again this
shenanigans, you've
Sunday.
got to watch the Survivor Series.
It's got that kind of reputation. That has been this week's History Book. Coming up next, it's time to talk a little TNA news. Past Thursday night, we saw the crowning of new tag team champions in a newly formed team of Matt Morgan and the Damian Nelson endorsed Crimson. Now, why Inc. couldn't do this after a several week-long program with Mexican America, I don't know. But Matt Morgan and Crimson, a story still being told between those two, and now they are the TNA World Tag Team Champions.
Interesting how these two guys go into the pay-per-view and beat each other up for a double disqualification, and a guy that was undefeated to now become the TNA Impact World Wrestling Tag Team Champions.
We're on television.
This is Maria.
Kanellis?
Absolutely.
The hostess? Hi,
Yes,
Maria.
it's under my name. Room 316.
SmackDown?
Okay. All right. Absolutely. But we got to wrap this up. She's having a hard time getting checked in. I got to make sure it's going to be fine.
Welcome to this online exclusive from the Pro Wrestling Report. Damian Nelson and David Hero here to give you 5 more minutes. And whoa, you're taking notes?
You know what? I put a lot of thought into this whole John Cena heel turn thing. Originally, I didn't think it was going to happen.
You've been the naysayer.
I have been, but after watching the way Mick Foley tried to make John Cena the babyface in his hometown and it backfired,
The good guy?
it lays the groundwork for John Cena to say, even my hometown is against me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And for me,
How'd you feel about John Cena's papa being involved with that whole thing?
I thought that was Frank.
Cosentino?
Absolutely. You know,
I see.
He's got a great voice. He really does. I mean, Johnny Fabulous was there. I mean, that was awesome. But I'm thinking, okay, if John Cena's going to turn heel, it's going to take a hit to the merchandising, right? But then if you think about it, you got Rey Mysterio, who's going to be coming back shortly. That will help pick up merchandise.
Shortly, maybe not till WrestleMania, but at least in ring.
Okay, so that's fine. CM Punk sells a lot of merchandise. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sin Cara is up there with all the masks, $60 masks. And who is the one guy lately that it seems like every week has a new piece of merchandise coming out?
John Cena?
No. The woo-woo-woo guy.
Oh,
Zack Ryder. He has a t-shirt, he has the bandanas, now he's got a necklace, and he's selling a ton of it. Because there's a lot in the audience. So I'm guessing if you have Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, Sin Cara, Zack Ryder, then of course you have Randy Orton. You know, you're going to be selling some more Triple H stuff.
Don't forget Cody Rhodes merchandise.
That can offset the hit of a John Cena merchandise. It all comes to dollars and cents. And right now, it makes sense if all these other guys are making dollars to turn John Cena heel, just to fresh and liven things up. Now, it may not happen until, it could happen at the Survivor Series.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate? And that would be buzzworthy.
Well, Survivor Series, home of the screw job. Why wouldn't John Cena?
I guarantee you. There goes that word again. You know, maybe in the history book we should have talked about Survivor Series 98. Which is one of my favorites of all time. That was when we went into the Rock Bottom pay-per-view, which was that December, when Mick Foley was a corporate Mick Foley. He got screwed. Austin was part of it. Shane McMahon was a special guest referee. When Vince came out of the wheelchair, Gilbert was part of the tournament.
Yes,
remember the introduction for Gilbert? Vince McMahon with the glasses down, papering him. This superstar has achieved greatness in professional wrestling.
But can't you see it? I mean, right now, the stars are aligned where John Cena could, in fact, turn heel.
Will it happen this Sunday night at the Survivor Series?
You know what? I would love to see it happen at the Survivor Series.
Is there a better time to do it?
It's the best time. Because
Rock won't be involved in another wrestling match until WrestleMania. That's pretty damn guaranteed.
Right. So then The Rock, but does The Rock come back to lose?
If John Cena turns heel,
I can see John
you'll
Cena
forget that he
screwing
lost.
The Rock, leaving the ring.
Joining the Miz and Truth?
No, but then The Rock beats Miz and Truth by himself. He's G.I. Joe, bro, of course. Come on, he can't lose to the frat boy and Ron Killings. Didn't the Miz look like the guy when The Rock walks up to the Hertz counter to get his rental car?
I don't rent from Hertz.
Avis, Dollar, you know, and he goes to get the rental car, and there's that guy, that annoying guy that's behind the counter that doesn't want to help you with the smirk on his face, always seems preoccupied. That's who the Miz reminded me of Monday night.
Where do you get this stuff?
It's just real life. I live it. I see it. But yeah, John Cena, by WrestleMania, is going to be the bad guy.
You're not willing to commit to Survivor Series, though, but I ask again, is there a better place to do it than at this weekend Survivor Series?
No, Survivor Series is the place to do it. There's no question. But, like I said, The Rock's not going to lay down for Miz and Ron Killings.
They don't have to, though. And even if he does, John Cena turning heel would be buzzworthy enough where people would not be obsessed with the fact that The Rock lost.
I think that they would love it. I think they would love it if John Cena turned heel. But the fact of the matter is this: The Rock is not going to lose at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be the last time he's going to wrestle in the MSG. He's not going to go out on his back.
That's a good point. And it makes the Survivor Series that much more intriguing. And you can, of course, hear all that will happen this Sunday at the Survivor Series on the post show. We'll be live, coming to you from the Horny Goat Brewery.
Horny Goat Hideaway.
Wisconsin.
The Hideaway, not the brewery. If you go to the brewery, you're not going to find anything.
Maria Canales will be our guest.
Yes.
She's the hostess with the mostest. You might even hear her on the post show, David Hero, if all goes well.
Maria and Linda together in the same... Oh, my...
Good thing that TV screen's the largest in the Midwest.
Absolutely.
And that's all this Sunday night at, as David said, the Horny Goat Hideaway in Milwaukee. You can join us for the Pro Wrestling Report viewing party. And also, the events continue because Monday night we're back at Karma Bar and Grill in downtown Milwaukee for a live broadcast on 540 ESPN Radio, our home radio station here based out of Milwaukee as well. So we're
going to have more shenanigans and stuff to give away at Karma, aren't we?
Absolutely. It pays to come to a PWR event.
It does pay, doesn't it?
But it doesn't cost you anything to come to a PWR event. And that's what's great about it. Drink and food specials all available. Details all available right now on our Facebook page, pwrshow.com as well. So, I think it might happen Sunday.
It very well could. I wouldn't be surprised. It makes sense. Look at the way John Cena has taken.
He's gone.
What's his name?
Zack Ryder?
Yes, Zack Ryder.
Really? See, and this is why. This is why they think that.
But it's an accident. I have too much going on up here. I got a lot to prepare for. But he takes Zack Ryder by the hand and pretty much says, "Here, this is the next guy. Follow him."
What?
That's what John
say.
I said John Cena is like saying, "Here's the next guy." He's always with Zack Ryder. Come on, they're pushing Zack Ryder to the moon. How many backstage segments was Zack Ryder in on Monday Night Raw? 4, 5, 6? Mm-hmm. Quite a few. So, see, they're grooming him, not to be the next John Cena, but to be the next guy that's going to sell a lot of T-shirts and merchandise.
One thing that has been generally clear with World Wrestling Entertainment as of late is when big stuff happens, it's been right in your face for weeks before. All that you just said has been in our face for weeks before, including the new merchandise line for John Cena, which is distinctly not purple, green, red, yellow. It's black.
You forgot blue, indigo, and violet. But yeah, it's black.
And the fuchsia line, too.
Yes.
It's from back in the day. This has been the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. Be sure to check out Be the Booker, also available right here online, where we talk about the pay-per-view. And this one books the show as he would do it. And that DWHS moment did not work out so well for you at Turning Point. Let's see what happens.
Oh, you know what?
Here we go.
No.
You spin my head right round, right
there was
round,
two
like
Jeffs in that match.
Point.
That was the problem. I
Should we have spelled it out for you? Jeff.
Well, they're both Jeff.
Double T.
That was the problem. Shenanigans.
This has been the Pro Wrestling Report
EPO.
Primetime. We'll see you tomorrow night for the post show. And be sure, if you're in the Wisconsin area, join us live at the Horny Goat Hideaway for the WWE Survivor Series viewing party. For David Harrell, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in.